Well, this happened. Hello, welcome. I'm Allison, and this is Nellie, and we live here now. Well, we also still live here, right out here where we're parked. This is our new lean, mean commuting machine, or should I say non-commuting machine? I don't like commuting, and I'm gonna have to do more of it to the office where I work this year, and this is how much I don't like commuting. This much. I dislike commuting this much. And actually, I would need to be commuting so much that this was, believe it or not, the more financially reasonable decision to commute to my office in Seattle 5 days a week from my home that is very much not in Seattle. It would cost about $1,000 a month. So here we are. Now, I actually liked living in Seattle when I lived there. I like Seattle quite a lot. It's beautiful and there's a lot to do. There's not a lot to do like that where I live. I get the best of both worlds. So I'll be staying in Seattle. In this situation, a few days a week, I actually picked this guy up a few months ago and have been doing short trips in it. I have stayed in Seattle a couple nights a week at a time in it. It went fine. I have made some adjustments to my setup though. I'll talk about that later. And I've done a couple little projects. The tile wall back there, that's my doing.
I bought these plastic-coated composite tiles to brighten things up a bit, and they turned out to be a lot easier to cut and fit than I was expecting. The backing is super sticky, but not so sticky you can't pull it up if you feel a tile placement going sideways. The composite, though, was easy to break. That was most important. I only had to score it rather than hack all the way through. That saved a ton of time. I've got some leftover I've been saving for behind my sinking countertop, and I'll use it now that I trust it to not budge through bumpy roads and temperature swings.
But today, it is the weekend after Christmas, and I spent most of the day cleaning this thing out because we were on the road for 5 days celebrating Christmas on the Oregon coast with the king tide. Now that we have cleaned everything out of the camper from a 5-day trip in which this place got completely thrashed, not my fault. I'll let you guess whose fault that was. There's only 2 of us in this room, and I don't much have a taste for garbage and cardboard. She also got into a bag of food. In, I'd say 2-3 major raids over the course of that 5-day trip, Nellie consumed a disturbing amount of food. She ate her weight in food, I think, and possibly more. A pound of shelled sunflower seeds, an entire dark chocolate bar, a pound of carob nugget things, also with sunflower seeds in them. She ate a whole roll of paper towels, a box of trash bags, fresh box of trash bags. They wouldn't have even smelled like trash yet. About a dozen taco shells. She was uncomfortable for a couple of days, and I didn't get a lot of sleep because there were a lot of trips outside to the bathroom. Although thankfully, she is pretty well potty trained at this point. She's very good at asking to go outside by standing at the door and whining at me. Yes, you've been very good. And then you ate all of my snacks. You did. You ate them all. She's a monster. You hear that? Yeah, look at that face. That is a face that does not care that it wolfed down an entire loaf of sourdough bread. One of those big rounds. Thing was bigger than her, and she ate it. So we're gonna think on the food storage situation a little bit. I say we, like she's gonna come up with any good ideas. Now it's time to put our stuff back in the trailer in preparation to go to work next week. So join me for that. So I've already had to wash the upholstery. Nellie had a bit of an incident with some sizzling bacon the other day on our trip, and bacon grease went flying all over the camper, so the rug is still in the wash. I had to wipe the bacon grease off of the refrigerator. I'm talking about you. But it didn't come completely clean, so at some point I suppose I will be making some new seat covers. which I also need to make a bed cover because I did do a little bit of an upgrade on the bedding situation. I'm not going to be sleeping multiple times a week on something this thick, and basically a big one of these was on this shelf up here. Don't bite me. No. I've also already had to do my first repair job in here because the screws broke and or worked themselves out of the shelf here that's holding up this really heavy battery, and it broke through down into here. This is said repair job. 2 very thick graphic novels. We'll have to figure that one out later.
While the bed is as tedious to make as any other camper bed on a shelf, I have to say how absolutely luxurious it feels to be able to stand up to do things like this and, say, putting on pants in the morning. While the floor footage isn't that much more than my trailer, the cubic interior space from the high ceilings is a game changer. I seriously feel so spoiled standing inside of it to do anything at all. I'm a simple person of simple pleasures, I guess. And making the bed is kind of the hardest part of getting the camper ready for a trip. Then it's just a matter of prepping and packing my food and eating implements. There's no big clean out or ice anymore since this is a proper fridge. Another luxury over the trailer I'm really enjoying. Toss in a bag of clothes and toiletries. I have plenty of bench space for that now. And make sure my hiking boots are there, and I'm good to go for a week. This model, the Tuktut, made for the smaller of the mid-sized trucks, weighs about 620 pounds dry. On my Jeep Gladiator, it feels perfectly stable, and looking out the windshield, there's no detectable squat. Although it's like half an inch too long to close the tailgate, which is slightly annoying. I'm a big fan of all the windows, including the skylight with a bug screen and blackout screen on it, and every window, even those cute little bunk windows. The hand pressurized water jug is a fine water solution for the cramped space, and the sink is just big enough to wash my hands. It's a little too small and jammed in the corner for face washing, and I haven't attempted washing dishes in it yet. Some weeks after I did the wall, I decided that not only was the sleeping loft a little bit dark at night, even with the light on, it was kind of a pain to have to get out of bed to turn off the light before I went to sleep. Some sticky hooks and fairy lights are my quick solution here because electrical work, like installing a solar panel, is just gonna have to be a project for another day. There's one last, but essential chore left to be truly ready for a stay of any length in any camper, and that's bathing the hound. Not only do smells seem to condense and intensify in a small space, but it would be rude to bring a smelly Nelly to work with me to stink up the place, and stink up anyone's hand who gives in to those soulful eyes that beg for pets. Of course, I do all this before I mop the floor, because it'll certainly need it after.
Hey! Did you get a bath? Hey! Are you so good? Oh!
Aside from the unceremonious gobbling of a week's worth of my dry food and snacks, and the collapse of my battery shelf, it's been pretty smooth sailing so far. This is a major upgrade from the trailer, and not just because I can stand inside it, although I think that is my favorite part. I don't super miss the built-in 2-burner cook surface and built-in stereo system of the trailer kitchen, because y'all, did I mention I can cook inside now? That's another game changer, especially since I'm one for camping in any weather. I can cook inside, standing up. I cannot overstate how pleased I am about this. There's plenty of seating, too, enough for me to lounge without laying in bed. And what it lacks in cupboards, like the trailer, it makes up for in places to set a bag without it being in my way. I'm still making a couple adjustments, though. Next time, we'll see how our first couple trips went, including a white Christmas of a different sort.